Morning everybody, how you doing? Alright, we got Monday. Disclaimer there, please. Everything for educational purposes on here. We'll get into some stickers in a second. Alright, good morning. What we got today? Whoa. Come out. There we go. Alright, we've got LG, VNU, car, AEHL, BCAN. Taking a look at them now. Okay. Charts, scans. Everything else on here. Right, let's check this off. Make sure I'm not having any issues with audio here. All right, so this is the pre-market, before the pre-market that I do the show on. So just to give you early birds a little bit of an idea of what we might be looking at today. So first on up, just a quick look at the NQ. If we zoom out on the NQ, it's a bit difficult to see because we have had some inconsistent highs and lows in this channel, but oh well, there we go, thank you, there it all comes back. I was wondering where all that went. So yeah, for me, we was in this channel. Now you can argue from down here it's slightly different, which is the kind of thing that the issue that you can have with trend lines, which is why I generally go with the pools, because they give you an idea, you know, whether the trend line is correct. Like I said, they give you the first spot of a trend line. So here we tapped into level 1 and we went off from there, but ever since there, each of the kind of buy side pools have been aligned with this channel more or less. So you get to see these ones in between as well. But we have just fallen out of that trend line. There's that trend line. We fell out of it with that big kind of huge drop that we had on Thursday. Then non-farm payroll just kind of made it back. It was a little pullback. It was a big pullback, sorry. Didn't quite make it to the sell side liquidity. It was off just by a little bit there, by about 20 hand or so on the futures. So that's what we have. What I have now then is a buy side liquidity pool sitting down here. If I look at something a little bit lower time frame, actually this would have changed with the new high potentially. Let me recut that. So with that drop there, with a double bottom into there on Friday, yeah. Okay, so we have the newer version of that sitting down here. What time was that? 8:30. Liquidity switch on is higher. Right, so I'm going to go, because that's the liquidity switch on, I'm going to go with this also. It's going to give us a bit of a wider area, but generally, you know, it's a level 1, 2 and 3. One of them it taps into and you see the rejection out of it. All right, so the NQ has dropped out of that channel, and I'm looking to see whether or not we've got anything further to the downside right now. So that's on the NQ. Now the stock side of it. So right now, if actually I'm going to zoom into this a little bit further, because right now, if I'm looking at this morning, you can see we've tapped into this in the overnight. We've tapped into this guy here. So we're using this at the moment, 860. So we can come up here again and use that a little bit deeper into it before we come off. Else, if we do break that, we could be looking, to go and test this sell side liquidity, which is from the big drop. Sits so high up there because that was such a fast drop off. So the liquidity is a lot higher sitting up there. All right, now look at the tickers for today. Tickers for today. Let's before we jump onto let's jump on today's one. LGVN. It's a benchmark 2. If we break these, we know we can go supernova, and I do believe this one had a stock split, so we need to be careful for this on the short side. It's day kind of 2 on this, so it run on the overnight as opposed to the session. So it's the second go it's had at the highs. Let me get this VWAP off. What is that? Oh, that is a okay, gotcha. 1 sec. If we can have the settings off. Okay, so yeah, we went into benchmark 2. We acknowledged benchmark 1 there on the upside, but then pulled back, went straight through it almost to the bogey level yesterday, and then today we've acknowledged the benchmark 2. So that's back on. Now, looking at where we are, we've just come into the backside of benchmark 2. If I also look at the pre-market low to the pre-market high, we have just tapped into the buy side pull. Okay, now, so I said stock split. I'm not expecting anything from this today. I don't kind of anticipate what this is going to do. We're just going to put what options and what ideas we could have today for this. So the buy side pull has been tapped into. When you tap into the buy side pull after a run up, it is a good indicator that bids are holding the stock up still. Where was this? Right, so we didn't quite come down to 280. Okay, so we didn't need to get to 280. We made the next run up in pre-market. We've come back down to 340, which is a buy side pull, and we've worked our way out of it. Now, the whole pre-market session so far. Is coming in and utilizing this is where their sell side is. All right, it's the whole session, not the last swing. It's the whole pre-market. The whole pre-market has this sell side here. You have to break 452 to attempt to go supernova on this, bearing in mind you have had a reverse split. So that's what we know at the moment. Is we went up yesterday. Acknowledge benchmark 1, pulled back to it. Acknowledge benchmark 2 in pre-market. Right, so that's an indication that these levels are being acknowledged. Now, we know that if we break benchmark 2, that we can get the formula run again. So the formula can then run completely again on top of benchmark 2. So if it breaks benchmark 2, and this is going to turn into effectively a program trade where every buy side pull holds, that can work its way up all the way to kind of 750, perhaps a spike to 8. We'll see what happens there, but that's when, for me, a supernova is potentially on the cards, because that benchmark breaks there at around 480. And obviously, to get there, we've just acknowledged this sell side pull. It has to get up past there, and that's a pretty strong indication that you might not just get a double top, you might get something a bit higher. You're going to get the usual things occur here, so you're going to get either buyers stepping in if we break 480, because it'll be a new high above the pre-market high, and as soon as you get to the round number, you're going to have shorts kicking in, attempting to put those buyers into negative territory. But for the minute, that switch on is just coming on here at 1 o'clock, and we have just tapped into both sides of the liquidity pool again, which is something we see pretty much every morning when we draw these in. So that's LVGN. I'd love to say it was short pops because the benchmark was there, but we've seen in the past few months that it becomes a kind of dip buy when it comes down from benchmark 2 and it holds its kind of resting liquidity pool for the bidders on the pre-market. That is when you can kind of bring this across and say, right, until that level fails, this really isn't backside. So let's see what else we've got on LVGN there, but they're the numbers to look out for, right? A break above 450, a break below 335. You can gap play in there if that's what you like to do. If you like shorting the interims, then fine, you can short the kind of 430s down to the 355s again. But bear in mind, every swing has a new level. So if I were to draw every one of these in opportunities, like if we just let's drop down to a 1 minute, because it'll give you a little bit better of a. So each one of these, so you know that my go-to trade once it's at benchmark 2 is here. It was too early for me, and it was there at 460. About 460. So it hit the benchmark 2, dropped, pulled back, couldn't get any higher than the sell side liquidity. It held. That's your nice trade there. Literally dollar in, 460 down to 370 or 380. So not quite a dollar. But then you faded down to the buy side liquidity pool. But each one of these was then holding the sell side. So there's your next opportunity, get in. And then each one of these, there's another one. You bring it down. You can't really get these wrong. 1, 2, 3 goes at it. Bring this one down. That one's that one's fine. This one's a little bit perk higher because it went to the previous one, because it wasn't all exhausted. And then now we're coming down, and this swing didn't get it there. We've just come back for it here, and you just bring it down, and then you're just waiting for that first one to fail. Here's another one. So sell there, down into 345 from 380. So that's kind of what we're doing. And right now we are getting like the buy side tested, as well as, just here we had the buy side pull in as well. So that's how I track these levels coming in. Every swing has a micro liquidity pull, as well as the macro pulls, which is generally the session, the start of the session. Right, so you got LGVN there. So we know it's on the scanner. We know that everyone's going to be looking at it. What else do we know? We know it's got a volume of 5.6 million today. We know that it's 51% up from the close. What else do we know? We know, whoa, I've got inside ownership as 91% here. And institutional ownership of only 0.5%, but literally that leaves about 8% for the rest of us. So we need to watch out for this. Again, liquidity switch on, acknowledging that buy side pull in its lowest area right now. That's a bugbear of mine, that liquidity switch on. So yeah, that's what we've got on LVGN. The float turnover is already seven times. So 728,000 in float. It's rotated 7 times already on a volume of 6 million. Math a little bit off there, but that's what the data is telling me. So yeah, we don't know. We can see like a head and shoulders forming, all that sort of stuff. All we know is we've got a sell side liquidity pool that they need to foul if they're done with this at benchmark 2. All right. If we are looking at the where we're going for resting liquidity, as in to say, what would the ultimate daily target be if 480 was the high of day. So if 480 was the high of day, we are looking at a resting liquidity of between 220 and 260, i.e. the middle of that would be somewhere where I'd think any further down than 240, I might be pushing my luck on the profit side. Right? It's almost back to where it come from in that respect. Okay, so that is LGVN. Any tickets you want me to look at, punch me in the chat, because I will be doing a stream over with the prop firm Trade the Poll a little bit at 9 o'clock. All right, so let's get cracking on this. What else have we got this morning? More importantly, what has been on? So UCAR and BCAN. UCAR on the 1 minute. Let's have a look at the daily. Hello. So pop and drop before. Okay, so a massive drop. It's a little bit difficult there to go with. Let's go with what is so benchmark 2 is going to be up there here. Benchmark 1 we've just tapped into. And you can see we've acknowledged this, right? Once there. This is the area of accumulation. This is the area of the first initial, well, it's the buy pull that's going to stop going down any further, put it that way. So first, second, acknowledge, and then we come into it again, blast through the first and second, and then we go to the benchmark. So now where are we currently? I'm going to put the bogey level in here as well, just somewhere bang in the middle there. Just throw that on. Okay, so now the resting liquidity from this morning, from where it is right now, is going to be right down here. All right, that's buy side liquidity sitting down there. Just waiting. That doesn't mean it needs to be held. What we know at the moment is we tapped in. Let's get this on a 1 minute so we can see what's going on. What we do know is we tapped into a benchmark, we acknowledged it, and the sell side liquidity was sitting up here, and we tapped into it, into level 1. These are 3 distinct levels that I just sewn up: bottom, middle, top. And there's the sell that didn't make it down to buy side liquidity. Let's get in here a little bit. But you can see here, see that little guy there held, and then when we pulled that up, this like guy here held. But over the actual swing up from that last to this, you can see actually from this low to this high. That's what we're utilizing now. So again, we've utilized a benchmark, we've utilized a sell side liquidity pool, and the most recent buy side pool is kind of holding, and the liquidity switch on is not breaking it down any further. Let's have a look and see if we've got any splits on this. Oh my goodness, what a surprise. We've got another split, 1 for 100 stock split on this one as well. So this could be a pump. We have already gone from $4 to $9. We've got the bogey level at 12, and we've got 14, 15 up there as well. Okay, so Let's see what this UCAR W. What's the news on UCAR? Nothing. Nothing today. No, so just basically the split and consolidation. So it's just the split. There was share consolidation back on the 25th of March. Then the stock split on the 28th. Other than that, there doesn't seem to be anything going on for the stock. So it's the first jump since the split. The split is back here. You notice it didn't do anything, but now it has. So you need to be careful of this, because the first one isn't always the one that rockets off these stocks, but sometimes it can come down a lot lower than what we think before it goes. But nevertheless, we'll just look at what is on the chart. We've got our levels. What else have we got? Let's have a look. You know, I don't like to do it, but what would we have if we look left here? So we're going to have 1085, 13, and a 14.5 up there. That seems kind of, that's the nice one, isn't it? That's okay. Yet off here, these are predicted from this data here in terms of the benchmark. So you've got 13, you've got 1440. That's a little bit too wide to kind of add into. But the 1440 would align with sort of this, just under, as if it was just off the benchmark. So let's put a 1440 up there, right? Just so we know there's a little. That'll be something else, right? Okay, so that's what we've got. So all we've got to do, all the job is today, is to wait and see on the open and see, are we going to break this 710 level, right? Well, it's actually 705 now, we've got to say, just in case I'm off on the drawing, right? So 705, let's just bring this down a little bit. 705, the gap down there is the 6, so there's $1 in it, probably a bit more, 550. If that breaks down at $7, if it doesn't break down, then we either have a short on, or or from kind of $8, $9 all the way down to 6, or we attempt to break 930 and the benchmark, and we run off for the next one. So that, and given that it's a stock split, it's a high possibility it can do that. Small caps, I always prefer benchmark 2 to benchmark 1, even though benchmark 1 can be a good post-market or pre-market play for 50 cents, $1 or $2. So that's what we've got on UCAR. So a break of 705. Put an alert on there. And then I'm going to put it a little bit higher just to see if we get, because the liquidity switch on's just tapping at the same level. Right, so that's UCAR. Let's see if we can't get that. But for me, I think that's more of a bull trade. But as always, we're going to listen to the tape, which when we're on the live stream, once the market is open. So that's UCAR. UCAR, BCAN was also out there this morning, BCAN. UCAR's tapped into it on the switch on already. Wow, just acknowledge the other liquidity pool. Look at that. Unbelievable. And straight back to where it was. Okay, so that gives you an indication of where this stock could end up. Not today, necessarily. It's just acknowledged it. So just tapped in the whole lot and then come back to where it was. So let's bring this over. And let's put that back in. Okay. So BCAN is the other one on, and then I want to look at what was going on Friday and see if we've got any backside action from Friday. BCAN daily. Okay, so we can see what BCAN likes to do. BCAN likes to pop and drop on the same day. Pop and drop on the same day. So historically, here one, you've got a few runs here before a split, I presume, obviously because of the price. And again, we've got 3 splits today. 3 splits coming up. Let's just see where that is. Right, so where was that split? So IPO. Where did I see that split? No? I swear I saw a split on this. Oh, it literally hides split if you hide your drawings, does it? I have to remember that one. All right, so we're well off. We've had a split, and we will look at what we've got going on today. Okay, so this seems to be the area of contention on this day. So 15 minutes, looking down here, bringing this all in. I'm looking to see where that high brought in. I don't think we've tapped into it. Oh, we did tap into it straight away. Okay. Okay, so we tapped into this down at $1. So this has got work to do, BCAN. Because it's resting liquidity pool can't be at $1, so it's got a higher one now just above, but still anywhere in that 120 area is dangerous for a stock that wants to stay listed in the Nasdaq. So let's have a look and see what we've got. So this is what I've got. It's going to be 190 and then 140 to 50. Hello. 190 and 140 to 50 on the benchmark, and we'll copy that, bring that down. Benchmark 1 is normally wider than benchmark 2, and that's what we've tapped into at the moment. And then if we come into this and look at what we've got from the overnight to this morning, is we are taking that post-market open, the start of post-market, and we are drawing in our buy-side liquidity pool from that mid-high, not the switch on. And we've got a buy-side pool that really is the liquidity switch on. It was kind of there, and then we've tapped into it on the liquidity switch on, so that's fine. Now what do we have from the sell side? So we didn't grab this sell side liquidity until the switch on. And I'm going to leave it up there because I don't like the switch on. But we are going to see, right, sell side holding there. So we had a short there. There was another entry there if you want to get short down here in pre-mark from, kind of 140 down to 120s. And then now, clearly, what we was doing, this liquidity switch on has now come up and tapped into this one. So for the minute, I'm actually going to ignore the switch on as usual. And we come into looking at 133 to 138, let's say 140. So a break above 140 for BCAN can see us try out for 190. Again, you will have the pre-market highs to consider. You will have buyers coming in at the break of that at 158, 160. You'll probably have sellers coming in just past that. I mean, I don't think they'll wait for $2 somehow. I think they'll be coming in at around 165, 170. But we need to look out for that. We do have a bogey level sitting in the middle here, so watch out for that one. That's the bogey level that sits in there. So just in case, we can tap into there, come back and go, or tap into there and that is it. It just doesn't come back. Doesn't go any further forward after that. So that's BCAN. So currently residing in a buy-side liquidity pool. And remember, this can be the best buy of the day. Okay, not necessarily pre-market, but if you're dipping down into this at 111, we do still have room. The only time I don't want any part of this is really if it breaks 112, because where's it got to go back to? 1. I don't want to be in this for 12 cents. So really, if this sees any more volume, let's have a look at what we've got on this BCAN. We have volume today of 3.6 million. It's got a 72%. All of these stocks today that have splits have a huge insider ownership. LVGN 91%, UCAR 71%, BCAN 72%, AEHL 50%, AUUD 28%. They're all huge insider ownership numbers. Like I said, a program trade definition is a basket of trades that occur that hold buy-side pulls as they go. Now, let's see if that's the case today. So the indication I will be looking at, oh my goodness, the float on these are micro. UCAR and BCAN's 180 for UCAR and 145 for BCAN. So don't want to get involved in shorts for these today. It's just, can we get in the best kind of long trade, and where would that be? And at the moment, I think we're looking at the low side 112, if not 118. We just need to see what happens on pre-market. We'll set some alerts here which are probably going to go up before pre-market because of the machine switching on. But if we get a break below 110, not really that interested in UCAR anymore. BCAN anymore, sorry. Right, so all doing a similar thing, yes? We've got LGVN, sell side, buy side. We've got UCAR. Was LVGN benchmark? Yeah, LVGN was benchmark 2. It's then done sell side liquidity, hovering around buy side liquidity now. UCAR, it hit benchmark 1. There's more above it, but benchmark 1 hit sell side liquidity, currently holding buy side liquidity, and acknowledged the resting buy side liquidity down here as well. So potential longs on this here at the moment. So BCAN, again, BCAN benchmark 1 acknowledged, sell side liquidity pool only acknowledged with this switch on, but each of these have held, right? Each of these, let's just bring this over, CV, right? Bring that over. And then where was this one to here? It was a little bit wider. Okay, so that's what happened. Currently, we are holding sell side, and look, we are busting buy side. Okay, here's the buy side, broken. So sellers in control at the moment, but sellers can be in control until you get to that bigger pull from the overnight to the pre-market, and that's where they can lose control. So what happens down here, we get some accumulation, pick it up, and then it will be whether or not we can break the first side. Now, I don't want to draw anything other than this one in at the moment, because that switch on is, you know, if I was drawing it, if that switch on hadn't been there, it would be from there kind of to here. So if I was to say, all right, the most micro indication of sellers failing to hold, it could be this one. But that's why I don't like the switch on, because it messes things up, no doubt. So that's it. We have, so from this last sell side to this buy side, we have this one. And if I'm taking it from here, if that's kind of real, I'm taking it down to here and up to 127. All right. Okay, so that's where I've got on BCAN. What else have we got here? So BCAN, I can't see. Oh, AUUD. What's happening on? So AUUD was the last race winner here. Sorry. All right, just got 5 minutes here. AUUD was the last race winner. Oh, okay. Okay, so there's nothing on the daily on this by the looks of it. No. Nothing on the daily, so just going to look at some post-market action here. What do we got? We're just going to go with post-market and see where we're at. All right, yep, so we draw one in. damn, can't let go of it. Whoops. Okay. And that's why I like the right, so again, the meat of the move play, you wait for that accumulation at the bottoms to finish, and you say, right, here we go. That's the gap play. As soon as it's on the scanner, you can take it from 192 up to 3. That's the nice safe play that you can take, albeit very quick, like 5 minutes. 5 minutes to get there. That's what it does. No liquidity involved. That's not switched on until 8. No halts going on. That's why this happens in the pre-market, and then we're coming off at the moment. So if I'm looking at where this is going to be, if I'm looking here, that would be the target for shorts in pre-market. All right, it's not to say this is a short, but that is off the first benchmark. So I prefer these earlier in the morning, but it doesn't mean we can't get here in the next hour. So that's what I like. There's the buy side there. If I was to look at the 1 minute on this, the play is there. The textbook setup is there for me because it hits the benchmark, pushes into the bench. See this one here? This first push into the benchmark, when you take it to that low, to any low here, it doesn't matter. See how you smash straight through the sell side liquidity? That's not what you want to see. What you want to see is the high. You want to see that nice clear low in, and then it pops back and fouls the liquidity, goes green to red, and then you can get short on that. Now, I prefer to do that at benchmark 2, but benchmark 1, you know, you got to be in it to win it. So there is the play set up there. And like I said, that sort of target, all right, micro wise, there's going to be liquidity sitting right here where we've just paused. There's going to be a buy side there, and there's an ultimate, but you know, what I call resting buy side liquidity sitting down here. That's the ultimate target. If this benchmark and that high is going to be the high of day 1.2 to 180 is the target, because there's not much lower than that. It's basically where it come from. You have to be kind of lucky to get a fade lower than that. All right, so that looks good. Now you will get momentum in this trade, in my opinion, if you break 279 and hold close. Yeah, so AUUD Alt W. Right, so anything else? AEH, let's have a look at AEHL because that's been around before, right? Not just on Friday, right? So what does this stock like to do? So it likes to pop in the pre-market and drop. It's popped in the pre-market and dropped. Has it ever not popped in the pre-market and dropped? This didn't pop in. This popped in the session and dropped. It didn't make a new high after the initial pop. There's no. Right, let's look at the daily. The daily. Right, so we've got a 2-day play here and then a drop. The initial start of that was day 1 and drop. Right, here's a multi-day. Okay, so it's not hugely consistent. It's 2 days here, 3 days here. So it's not hugely consistent. It's not always a 1-day drop, but a higher number of times it has. But it's got, here's the split back in September. So it done a split back in September. Now it hasn't had a pump off that split yet. All right, hasn't had a pump off the split yet. It's basically holding those lows at 150 right now until this pre-market where we're sitting at 180. Is there anything else to work off from those lows? Kind of, don't much like that one. So disregarding anything else on the left hand side of the chart apart from looking to see how it reacts, how, you know, whether it runs for 1 day or 2 days or multiple days. Benchmark. Oh, let's just change this to a benchmark. And the bogey is going to be sitting in the middle. Bogey's right there. So, it might be a little bit lower. Right, so that's the bogey level right there. Yeah, a little bit lower. Actually, yeah, there or thereabouts, right. All right, so what have we done this morning? So this morning, again, this gives us a bit of a cheeky one because that would have been a little textbook play for me. I would have really liked that for a short, and it didn't really pay. The next one didn't give us it, right? So that's, oh no, what am I talking about? That's post market. I wouldn't have been trading that one. So we didn't get that pattern this morning. It just whacked up above the benchmark, spiked to close to the bogey level and come off. What I would be looking at is where was that first post market swing? We're right there now. If I took it to the high, that's going to get wider, and we've utilized nearly all 3 levels now. So again, AEHL has 3 million traded today. It's 22% up at this point. 50% held by insiders. 0 institutional. It's got a float of 5 million. So this one's got the biggest float. Yeah, this one's got the biggest float. So it doesn't look like this one is going to get rotated necessarily. But we do have a level of 360 up there. So again, we're just looking to see either this is kind of over for the day because there's not a lot below in terms of this support. You know, if it breaks 150, then perhaps, but that's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to look for these pops and see where that kind of best entry buy is or the good short is. So if we can work out of here and get volume, let's see if it can turn into a hot stock again. But at the minute, I feel like that was done in pre-market, but we'll keep an eye on it to see if it comes onto the scanner. Oh, W, right, and then I'll have to do this again in half hour. What time we got? 3:32. All right, I just want to look at a couple of things that we did look at on Friday, just to see if there's any short side on it. So let's have a look. Right, first of all, HYMC was a first red day that I called on Thursday or Friday. I can't remember. Thursday or Friday, I think. When was the red day? Yeah, the first red day was Thursday, so I called it on Friday, and it was pretty much. I think this is what I drew in pre-market. This line here was the resting sell side liquidity, buy side liquidity pool was down here at 260, and we'd already confirmed on the red day, even though we took back half of it on the day before we come off, was its sell side liquidity worked at the highs. Put in the first red day, even though it's got more up there, it's still put in the first red day, so that makes it kind of backside or to look for shorts. And I was saying if we come back into this sell side around 345, then let's see if we can't get into it and look for a target of 250. It pretty much works to the drawing, but a little bit kind of off in terms of how long it's taking. So it would have been nice to just get that flush right out of there from 3 to 260, but it didn't happen yet. So pretty much that one worked again. So just tapped into that. I wonder if the high to the actual low. Yeah, the high to the low. So we've got one there. So it could use up to 350 on that. It could use up to 350 because this only tapped into the second level. So there's another one up there at 350. I wouldn't want 340 to break, to be honest with you. But you know, if it spikes, that's okay. But if we start grinding above 340 to 350, then I would be wary of it not trying to catch up to that 5 level. Okay, but at the moment the trade that was on was a first red day trade. We sold that for 344 down to you want to sell that down to 260 is the target. GSIT is also looking pretty backside. If these sell side liquidities, switch ons just acknowledged, can hold buy side here. So if was looking at this more of an opening trade, which was if we can pop to 550, looking for a short to 347. If 560 holds and closes above, be careful because we've got a $9 sitting up there. All right. So yeah, all really looking to see if these have lost momentum since. Where's MDIA? Oh, EIGR the same. Went to a benchmark, used its sell side liquidity on Friday, come down to its buy side liquidity pool. Again, if it comes back to 233 again, there could be another trade on for 40 cents. MDIA. Being careful with MDIA. I don't know if it's a split. Was it a split? Just checking. MDIA. Right. So it's holding the macro buy side. From the whole push up, it's holding the buy side liquidity pool right now. It's been into it this morning and it is acknowledging it. So it's got to deal with, if it does it again on the open, you could take another buy on that at 250. Targeting 360. You need to be careful of 4. If we break 4, it could go to where it come from, so we need to acknowledge that. But ultimately a pop to $350, $4 might see a nice short here, so put an alert on that. On MDIA. XXII yesterday it's done the same thing. It went to a benchmark. There's another one above it at 620. Buy side liquidity is holding. This could be the best area to kind of get long if this starts to grind up and out. All right, so this one's been used. So oh no, it's not, it's the switch on. So the first area of contention is $3 up there to 360. Again, if we start to break 4 on XXII, you could look to go to the next level, which would almost be double. All right, so that's it. That's your top tickers this morning. Let's just take one more quick look at where NQ is. Okay, let's get this off. So NQ, so was this was Friday? Yeah, so NQ not doing much. It just missed its sell side liquidity pool. I had timing bars up here to say this was kind of the right time for perhaps for it to think of reversing, but we put in another high. And then we're starting to, then we kind of kicked in. Now we've got, these are 2 minutes, so they're not really, they're just picking out similar things on a lower time frame to that low and that high. So where's the next big one? Okay, so not until later. In fact, not until tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. So we're going to trade. We'll consider the pools in any case. So right now we've got one up here. There was a bigger one that we didn't touch in because of the huge move down, like I said. So pulling up here, this one is from the whole swing up. So we'll see if we go tap into this area and then down to here, that might be an all right trade, but we're expecting something a little bit more heavy on Tuesday. Let me check that. Yeah, 4 till 6 a.m. on Tuesday. So let's see. So that'll be the pre-market on Tuesday. So we'll see if anything's going down then. All right, that's it, guys. I'm going to take a break before we go over to trade the pool live stream, which is going to be at 20 minutes at 9 o'clock. All right, so I'll catch you back then, and I'll just set that up. I'll leave the, what do we leave on here? What's what do we got here? leave those winners up there for you. See if anything starts running, right? So we'll leave that race going on to see if any of what we've mentioned there, they're all up there. AUD, DC I haven't looked at, BCAN, see if any of them start running, basically, because if they start moving, we know they're all in their buy-side liquidity pools. If they start winning one of these races, we know that they're moving out of that zone, all right? So we'll keep that on here, and we'll just leave the NASDAQ on in terms of anything else we've got. All right, guys, I'll just take a quick break. I'll catch you in a bit. Just going to switch the stream, guys. Going over to trade the pool.